Hello, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the AVGL Weekly Aftermath. My name is J. Mac Tucker. I'm one of the Smite commentators here. I'll be hosting for the evening. It wouldn't be a show if I didn't have some lovely guests. So go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Cameron Davis. I'm one of the resident Counter-Strike Global Offensive casters here for AVGL.
Alrighty. Next?
What's up, everybody? My name's Strixus. I'm a content producer for AVGL for Smite and Paladins.
And last but not least...
Oh, don't put me in that spot. Hey, everybody, I'm Party Petey, and I'm one of the Dota 2 commentators for this current season.
Well, glad to have all three of you guys on here. We're representing all four of our lovely games inside of the AVGL. We're going to start off our show with the same way that we do every week, which is our weekly recap for what happened to all of our games. So, Cameron, why don't you go and tell us what happened in CSGO this week?
Okay, yeah, so going down the different groups, in Group A, Ignis still need to play Ryerson from Week 1, and they're also playing their Week 5 match this Friday, so also a little delayed. But even with that, the fight for the top is still a tight fight between them, GG's, Ryerson, and Waterwoo. GG's and Ignis, Alini Esports, Team Ignis, and GG's are still at the top, but there is potential for the other two to upset, particularly because Ignis has the delayed matches that already went over. For Group B, McMaster is still undefeated, but Michigan State University and MC Edgelords are close up there fighting for second. For Group C, Donald's Deplorables also still undefeated. Montreal is climbing up the ranks to be tied for second with Queens, and also just basically essentially knocked Boston out of the race for the top. Group D, this four-way fight for first is still growing strong, though it did kind of just get whittled down to 3 as Champlain lost to Rutgers, who is a lower-placed team, but there's still a lot left to decide, even with Champlain in the mix. With Group E, GTech A, actually, this was the show that we broadcast on Sunday, has a surprising upset 2-0 versus University of Kentucky, which means that those two teams are actually now tied for second, with UCI still at the top. Group F, KSU and GM to the top 2, and there's really no sign of that change. The other teams are a bit too far behind this late into the season. All's left is to see who's going to be first and who's going to be second, which should be decided this week, as this is the week that they both meet each other. For Group G, UCI Gold actually had to forfeit their match against UCSC. They're still in the lead, but this may give just enough space for either UBC Cat Bubbles or UCSC to overtake them within the coming weeks. And then finally for Group H, UC San Diego still undefeated. CU Boulder and CSULB Senpai Squad just right behind on their tail.
Wow. So you said a 4-way tie in one of those groups, or 3-way ties for this sport?
Yeah, essentially. This entire season that was Group...
I think C?
Group D. It was Group D. They had 4 teams, which is Champlain, C-Tech, Georgia, and there's a 4th team there. I'm not going to waste your time waiting to load it up. But yeah, this entire season has just been those 4 scrambling around, and they don't actually really get to meet each other until these last 2 weeks. Last week, this week, and the next week. So I guess the final 3 weeks is when all that is finally going to get sorted.
Yeah, and that's usually when we see the big action, is when the top-seeded teams get that hit off. So definitely going to want to keep up on that. And Strixus, we had some really crazy Paladins going on this weekend. Why don't you tell us about that?
So Paladins had our top 8 bracket this weekend cut to top 2. The top 2, of course, get to play at the Paladins Masters LAN next weekend. But we had our top 8. We started with the first and probably the closest match of the night. We had Clark College versus Sheridan. Clark College was unable to field eye-drop bodies, so they had a substitute, Taite, who's a very capable player, did very well for them. They ended up taking it 2-0 over Sheridan College in 2 straight games. Both of them were really close. I think both of them were within a point of each other, so both of them were 4-3 in favor of Sheridan College, in favor of Clark College. Rowan versus Bloomsburg was a fairly quick match. Rowan took it fairly quickly. Obviously, they're one of the best teams in the AVGL. They're one of the They're just one of the powerhouses. They've got some really solid names on them. We aired that first semifinal first. Rowan took it 2 over Clark. I feel like it might have been closer if Clark was able to play with bodies. Unfortunately, they were not able to drop bodies that set, and Rowan took it. And they were the first Masters LAN, well, the first AVGL LAN qualifiers. They play at the mountain. So actually, I believe Shady Shades gets to go there for 2 different events now. On the other side, University of Texas was not able to play. Unfortunately, their match versus Davenport. Concordia versus Stony Brook was a pretty fun match. Concordia took that one 2-0. And then Davenport versus Concordia was also pretty fun. Davenport took that one 2-0 as expected, I believe. They're they are one of the top 2 teams, if not the team expected to win the AVGL season this season. So they took the 2nd seed. We've got Davenport versus Rowan. You have Avuli, you have Powtech, you have Wi-Fi, you have Shady Shades there for 2 separate events now. They have made it through. They made it to the Masters LAN as well through Astral Authority and Eager, the top 2 seeds from North America. And so that's going to be really exciting for them to be able to compete in 2 separate events. They're going to have to be on their toes because that's a lot of Paladins to be played. But yeah, so that's what happens. We're at our top 2, and next weekend we get to see who wins the season, which is exciting.
Yeah, especially getting to play in that LAN setting. That's something that not everybody gets that opportunity for a finals for a big tournament, especially like AVGL. Now that we have this LAN with high res, I mean, that's where, that's the make or break. LAN is a whole nother cookie to crumble there.
Right, for sure.
So, Pete, or Mr. Party Petey, what you got for us in the realm of Dota 2 this week?
Well, looking at a lot of the stats and a lot of the divisions, a lot of teams are still 6-0 or 5-0 and so on and so forth. We have Washington State University in the Midas division still 6-0. And then we've got the University of Waterloo still 5-0 or 6-0. I don't really know what the math is on that, but they haven't lost anything. That's what I'm getting at here. But so far, just a lot of teams that are still going like 6-0, 5-0, or 4-0 apparently. Because we also have Stony Brook University going as 5-0 on the Radiance division. And then we have the UMass Immersed, probably pronounced that wrong, in the Lincoln's division going 5-0 as well. But, oh yeah, and then UC Davis in the Tarrasque division going 5-0. And this weekend with our featured game, we had RIT go 2-0 with both a meme-like game and a not-so-meme-like game for the very first one. But a very simple week of Dota 2 for AVGL, just another week of groups and another week of execution.
All right, sounds awesome. Is there any more Dota to come still in the upcoming weeks? How many more weeks of play do we got?
Believe it or not, I personally do not know. But well, I'm pretty sure we still have quite some time left because, yeah.
All right. Well, cool. And I'll be representing Smite tonight, as I usually do. Over in our Smite division of the AVGL, we concluded our final round of match play this past Saturday, and we're going to go through the brief rundown of the top 2 seeds from each of those divisions. Those are the ones moving on to our championship stage. In the Ragnarok Conference, Ohio State University, long time ago, clinched their first seed in order to get it. They went 7-0 for the season, finished out. However, this past Saturday, we got to watch the matchup for Southwestern College and Calvin College. It was probably one of my favorite sets of the season. And I was preaching how much I love the Penn State matchup against George Mason University. This was another nail biter that came down to the very end every single time. If you missed it, you need to go back and watch Southwestern versus Calvin. Southwestern came up 2-0, but it was a hard-fought game for that one and produced some really amazing highlight plays. In the Egyptian division of the Ragnarok Conference, Stony Brook University sealed out at 7-0. They'll be getting first seed, and Bowling Green State University will have their second seed at 6-1. Into the Gaelic Conference, Celtic Division, Salisbury University undefeated this year, really no surprise from really any of the casters here. Really anybody who is in the league seeing Salisbury get undefeated this time around. DePaul University is actually going to be the second seed, as they do have the head-to-head matchup against Concordia. So while both of those teams finished 6-2, DePaul has the head-to-head, and so they will be the ones getting the second seed for Celtic. In the Mayan division, it's going to be St. Joseph's University, 8-0, finished out undefeated. Really no questions on that one. Another team that we were really seeing to be an undefeated one. University of Massachusetts Dartmouth is going to take the second seed, as they were able to defeat everybody else except for St. Joseph's. And while it may have been a bit of a blowout, it was one of the first games of the season with an incomplete roster, so we may see a little bit stronger of a UMass lineup this time around. Over in the Yomi Conference, Japanese division, George Mason University, after their commanding 2-1 victory over Penn State, locked them into their first seed, with Penn State in the second seed for the Japanese division. Over for Hindu, absolutely no surprise, Tarrant County College, 8-0. They'll be taking first seed. Georgia Tech Yellow, immediately behind them. They went 7-1 throughout the season, so that's going to do it for Yomi. And lastly, in our Olympus Conference, this is the one that had the most change that could have happened this past week, but really didn't. Greek division, University of Tennessee Orange still sits number 1 over UC Riverside, who will clinch their second seed. Roman division was the one that we were really looking at this past week. This is the highlight matches that we really wanted to take on here. Unfortunately, the team that we were really looking at, which was University of Advancing Technology, they had a big opportunity to potentially take even first seed, if not, at worst, take second seed away if they would just win 2 out of the 3 matches they had to play. But unfortunately, they did not play this week and had to give up all 3 of their matches. So University of California, Santa Cruz is going to be at the undefeated first seed, and Regis University right behind them at 7-1 to get the second seed for the Roman division. So that's going to do for all of the standings this week. We are going to go into a very special top plays this week. It's a lot of really intense top plays. Let's go ahead and get into that one.
Still looking to see if RT are going to push their advantage anymore. They still have the Aegis on Magnus. They probably shouldn't for too much longer. OT into the base. He uses the Series Eclipse and gets 2 in the middle of those Aspirin Prisons. Ultra kill for him. Oh my gosh. Well, he's going to be looking for a little bit more. Aspirin Prison again on the sniper. Can he get the Rampage? He's going to go right for it. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3. And OT, cool guys don't look at explosions, gets the Rampage.
Make this the dream, the Hyper Beam to come out. It will find 1. Will it find 2? No, they will use the Dragon's Punch to get back on the map. Will it convert? The Axifier will say no thank you. And in the face of all of that, at 96%, everybody from the blue team falls. And Clark College, if they can find this Shaolin, they do. The overtime will tick away. And Clark College will roll away at a 4-3 victory and a 2-0 map set. The comeback is real. Down 3-0. Clark College has the presence.
Not able to goes, Nani pushes, Flux pushes out, not able to get the return kill. And now it's just Viet left with the UMP. You're gonna smoke the upper entrance onto the site, as well as molly it. Instead, just smoke off the defuse and push it through. Viet needs to peek out and stop it. Is he able to stop the defuse? He does stop the defuse in just the last second. And a nice final shot with the Deagle. He's gonna save the round for Kentucky.
Fine, Calvin College looking to take this one. They have 3 Phoenixes down. They pretty much have the guarantee for this one, but Southwestern's making the full rotation over.
And now Fire Giant sitting at about 4th health. There's the Finrare over. Where he's going
way!
Steal that one away right now. Calvin College feeling the burn from that one. That big team fight ultimate going to be coming through right now. Shock knocking them up. Fierno Evil going to come down trying to save their lives, but right now Micro Crush knocked in the air going to be coming down and crashing. Liquid Viper able to pick up that kill. A double kill for Falconium right there. 3 off the board, and Calvin College doing their best to try and get away. Valby Smitten is tanky. He might be able to run away, but the lockdown coming out from Southwestern is trying to keep him going, but they make the call. They see it. They're going for the objectives.
They're good. And those were our top plays here at the AVGL this past weekend. I got to say, those were all some pretty awesome plays. as far as the Smite one goes, like it showed to be number one. That was my top play of the entire Smite season. Like that Fire Giant steal was the most clutch, game-changing steal I've ever seen. They were down 7k gold, and all 3 Phoenixes were down. And they decided to rotate over, steal Fire Giant, push the game, and win it all. I mean, that's insane. But we're going to go ahead and move on to our school club or LAN event of the week. It's going to be UC Irvine is going to be hosting Zotcade, an annual gaming festival. The event takes place April 15th and 16th, 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. PDT, respectively, at the university's Student Center. With intense tournaments, round-the-clock giveaways, and tons of activities, Zotcade is an event you don't want to miss. Check out the event on Facebook. You can find it through the Zotcade page, or just search for Zotcade17. Sounds like it's going to be pretty awesome. You know, you can't, you know, you can never turn down giveaways, tournaments. I mean, giveaway. Who doesn't want to win stuff? Like, honestly, how many of you guys don't want to win stuff?
I mean, I want to win stuff. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. So we're gonna go into our news around the scene. This isn't. This is not limited just to our AVGL. This is kind of what's going on in the entire world of these events, and we're gonna go ahead and start with Mr. Cameron on CS:GO. What's happening in the CS:GO world today?
See, on the notes, I just wrote down the what's happening in the competitive scene, but I just realized that this wouldn't have. Wait, yeah. So the complete in the game itself, they actually just completely changed how the Negev, big giant, fully automatic giant machine gun works.
Mhm.
So like, if for those of you out there who don't know how Counter-Strike works in the spray pattern, when you start shooting, the first few bullets are, depending on the weapon, but the most accurate at the very beginning, and then they get more inaccurate. It's pretty standard stuff. How they changed the negatives, that they made it the exact opposite, that it starts off incredibly inaccurate, but then dials down to like a laser. And they're hoping they can have make that weapon have some sort of use as like a covering fire mechanic. And it's completely original to how just spray patterns and how the guns shoot in the game. And so it's currently removed from competitive play right now, like competitive matchmaking in the game, just, you know, because you don't want to accidentally throw something completely imbalanced in there. But it's definitely something to look out for. However, within the professional scene and the competitive scene, right now there's nothing quite new of note. We're still in the middle of a couple of online leagues happening. Star Series just wrapped up. We're still in the middle of EPL, and just excuse me. And now we're just waiting for the first couple of lands of April to start. We're just going to start off with Star Series Season 3 Finals, April 4th through 9th.
All right, sounds awesome. And the new gun, just hearing that spray pattern, you know, I've played some shooters in my days. I'm not any good at them, but just from, as you said, going from a kind of wide spray and pray to a more narrowed one, I don't think I've ever seen that in any shooting game before.
It's also 150 bullets for a single clip. So you can just hold down left click for a good like 6 to 10 seconds.
Wow.
That's pretty crazy, honestly, especially for CS:GO with how quickly games are decided by, you know, even 1 to 2 bullets.
Yeah.
So Srixis, tell us what's going on in the world of Paladins.
All right. Well, we have the patch dropped last week for Lex. Lex has made an immediate impact on everything. Lex has been a top pick for the competitive scene for high level ranked. He's very strong. Some other changes that the patch brought about, we did not see a lot of Fernando still this weekend. We still saw a lot of Makoa and Torvald being really high pressure, high priority tanks. Makoa's ultimate change was definitely significant, but not quite enough to pull him out of the meta. Having a displacement on as short a cooldown as he has, that at the top level results in essentially immediate death, is just way too good to pass up. And his defense options are just really strong. We saw Bomb King start rising up from the top. People who have higher ping are able to play him a little bit better now. We have Bomb King got some adjustments to how he plays with high ping. So if you play on like the West Coast and you're on like an East Coast server, or if you play in Europe and you don't have the best ping, you will have better results with the character. And there are a couple players, especially Bird from Team Carbon 6 now, formerly of Team Burrito, who said that Bomb King probably could have been played even last patch and would have probably been just as good, but a lot of players started to value him more this patch due to the fact that he's just a bit more consistent now. A lot of other picks have remained very similar. Not a lot of the meta has changed around too much. We'll probably be getting a patch preview later on this week, as well as a patch probably next week before the LAN. So the players may have to adapt. The AVGL and Masters LAN players alike will have to potentially adapt to a slight shift in meta. There have been some spoils around on Twitter in the Paladin scene for the next patch that should probably be spoiled on Friday-ish, give or take. On top of that, I believe we know every single team going to the Paladins Masters LAN, aside from our own AVGL participants. You have District 69, the top seed out of Europe, as well as Carbon 6, as well, like I said before, formerly Burrito Esports. They were just picked up, I believe, earlier today, actually. The news was dropped. Then you have Astral Authority, first seed from North America, as well as Team Eager, second seed from North America. You'll have Nocturnes Gaming from Latin America, Cube, spelled capital C-U-B-E, from Brazil, I believe, as well as Kanga Esports, formerly Team Abyss, from the Oceanic scene. They were a top 4 contender at LAN, at the Paladins LAN back in January, so they're going to be huge. As well as there's a wild card winner between Interlopers and Team AGG, the third seed, the Gauntlet winners coming out of each of North America and Europe. So we're going to have a total of 9 teams competing this weekend, or next weekend, sorry, aside from the AVGL teams, with 8 of them actually in the round robin bracket. If you want to find out more information, you can look at that information on the esports.paladins.com website. And yeah, there's just a bunch of information about the Masters LAN there. And just to reiterate, our AVGL players are going to be playing on that Sunday before the full finals. So I definitely going out and check that out.
Well, that sounds awesome, and the fact that some of our players are going to be participating in that Masters LAN is going to make it that much more enticing for you to stay tuned and really watch that event. I know I was kind of disinterested in Paladins for a while, and then I went to HRX, and I actually got to see it live in person. I got to watch the finals, and it kind of re-sparked that, and it's actually become kind of a fun game. So go ahead and check out some Paladins. Mr. Party Pete, what do you got for us in the world of Dota 2?
Well, we have the Cube Major is still underway. No games happening of recent, but currently it's more of the focus is directed towards DAC and how players are slowly kind of solidifying what this patch or this meta is containing. But overall, I guess a lot of people already know since it's already been a whole week, but Complexity were actually kicked out of the regional qualifiers. They lost to Team Onyx, Abed Meepo in specific. So hopefully a lot of teams will figure out that they don't let Onyx get the Meepo when it comes to the actual gameplay of, well, actually, in all honesty, a lot of people are probably still going to ban Meepo anyway against Onyx, but there's definitely going to be 1 or 2 games with Abed Meepo going out there. And he is, of what I've checked recently, #1 Meepo still. So he's very scary if he gets his hero. So that's all that's pretty much going on for that. Other than that, a lot of people are, I want to say spamming or spam banning Monkey King, who's picked up as the common position 3 or position 4 roaming or semi-support hero that usually stalks around the mid lane with Alina. So there's a lot of metas and a lot of things that are getting pretty much solidified right now, and we're seeing things slowly we're seeing a lot of Lone Druid being pushed out of the game now. Lone Druid still not being up there on that pick phase, but overall, that's pretty much all that's really happening in Dota with DAC to be the current tournament with unfolding. So that's about it. Not too much more excitement other than Abed Meepo, which we're all looking forward to.
You gotta love when those tournaments and those patches come around, and kind of the one hero or champion or whatever game you play, they all kind of had that one sleeper. Everybody's just kind of whatever. We might pull them as a pocket strat, and then pocket strat turns into a meta pick. I mean, it happened with Smite. I've seen it happen with games like Paladins. I mean, it exists all over the place where a pocket strat becomes, oh hey, that's pretty cool. Let's everybody use that. Of Smite. SPL actually just finished up. The spring season has concluded, where now our top 2 teams have been decided that are going to be going to the Masters LAN for North America and Europe. I believe LATAM or Brazil, I can't remember which one, did complete theirs just today. I don't have all the information onto that one. But for North America and Europe, in the side of NA, Luminosity and Team Eager, respectively, in their first and second, are going to be going to the Masters LAN. That's going to be a big one. I think everybody's rooting for pretty much those 2 teams. It's not so much like everybody just loves those teams in general. It's the players that have been on those teams have been around the scene for a long time. Guys like Barracuda and Jeff Henlaw on Luminosity, Zapman over on Team Eager and Aurora. I mean, these are people who have been in the Smite scene for a long time. They're fan favorites. They're the town favorites, the town home. Like, everybody loves the North American boys. And who doesn't love Barracuda, honestly? If you ever come into the Smite scene, I always recommend Barracuda to people for a first time to watch, because he is the happiest man on the planet. I don't think I've ever seen Barracuda actually be like upset in a big situation. He's like just a crazy guy you gotta watch. Over on the side of Europe, it's gonna be the runner-up world champions, Team Obey, are actually gonna be taking the first seed this time around for European. They had a amazing season this time for them. And Dignitas is actually going to take the second seed. NRG Esports, the former 2-time world champions, actually made it come up in 3rd seed this time. Something that not a lot of people were really expecting, being 2-time world champions. All of a sudden now they're not the big dogs anymore. They dropped one of their first sets ever in like 15 months or something like that in this past split. I mean, it was crazy how strong they were going. But seeing Obey, as strong as Obey was at Worlds, now getting that first seed is going to be amazing. Like I said, they're the ones who are going to be going to the Masters LAN that happens towards the end of April. That's going to happen after our AVGL LAN. However, this upcoming LAN for them, the Spring Gauntlet LAN, is going to be the other 6 teams in all of those regions. Now, in North America, they're going to have all 6 other teams. And I'm not going to go into which ones all of them are. If you want to go into it, you can go on the Smite Esports website and really dig into all 6 of those teams. I know NRG is considered in that one. United, who recently took over Enemy Esports, is going to be into that group as well for the North American region. So if you really want to dive into those 6 teams, go for it. As far as the other 2 teams who are going to be going to LAN, it's the top 2 Challenger Cup teams, the number 1 from Europe and the number 1 from North America. For Europe, it's going to be formerly known as Optimus Gaming, now known as Carbon 6. They're going to be the number 1 Challenger Circuit EU team, moving on to the Spring Gauntlet LAN. And SPL Gatekeepers, the one that I'm really rooting for North America Challenger Circuit, they get to go to the Gauntlet as well. And that features our very own Data Remember here in the AVGL scene. He's been part of AVGL since back near the end of Season 1. He joined on to a team. He's been with it ever since. Getting to see him go to a big LAN, which will then eventually potentially lead into the Masters LAN afterward, as in this gauntlet, they're bringing 7 teams from each region. They're bringing 7 North America and 7 EU. And they're going to narrow down to 1 of each division, and then a wild card as well. Number 1 European and number 1 North American will join the top 1 and 2 from the season at Masters LAN, and then the wild card will bring 7. Then they'll be bringing in the LATAM, the Brazil, and the Oceania team. China won't have its representation. That's where we're getting our 7th wild card team that's going to be represented at the Masters. But big LAN to be following is the SPL Gauntlet LAN that's happening on the 14th, 15th, and 16th, I believe, is the dates for that one. 1 week after that will be our LAN, where we are still undecided on what's going to be happening with that. As far as the other realm of Smite goes, I know that there's scenes with the console stuff, but I'm very shaky on console scenes, so I'm not going to go even attempt to butcher what's happening with the console scene right now. The big thing to be noted is a recent hotfix with the patch notes right before they came out. In this upcoming patch notes, rituals have been removed. Thank you, Hi-Rez. Rituals are gone. No more combat blink. No more purchasable frenzy. No more teleport to God. All gone. They have listened to the crowd. They've listened to the pros, the amateurs, the general knowledge people. I mean, everybody was just like, why do we even have rituals? This isn't fun. It seems like there's this big competitive aspect, but it's not as great. So they're going to take them out of the game for now. They're going to reevaluate how they can somewhat bring these back into the scene later on down the road. But that's the big news of adjustments to the patch notes compared to last week, where we kind of just had the general rundown. So that's all as far as news in the world of Smite. So we're going to go into our prediction phase. Now, obviously, with some of our games, as they're getting a little bit closer towards the end, it's a little bit maybe easier to make some predictions, or maybe a little bit harder. Or in our case for Paladins, we already know who our two teams are, so now it's which of those two teams do you want? But we're going to go ahead and start with CSGO. You got any big predictions for us this week, Cameron?
I absolutely do. So for Group A, Ryerson and Waterloo, they finally meet up this week. Waterloo does need to show up if they want to stay in the contention for the top seeds. It is going to be a close game, but I think in the end, I'm going to give it to Waterloo. For Group B, there's nothing of note for the top three. They all have pretty simple expected wins come out. It's not going to be until the final week where Michigan State and MC Edgelords meet that'll be part of the deciding games. For Group C, Donald's Deplorables and Montreal actually face off this week. This one's going to be a real barn burner. And if Montreal can actually take the win, it'll really upset the top seeds. This game, I mean, like, no joke, I do not know how to call this game. It's going to be a bloodbath either way, and definitely like the first real challenge for both of these teams. For Group D, Carleton and Georgetown, they both have this is the one with the 4 teams vying for the top. Carleton and Georgetown have both games that they're expected to take the victories in that. But then Champlain and C-Tech, which are the other 2 of the top 4, are playing off this week. If Champlain can upset C-Tech, it'll throw another wrench in, because that'll mean that they'll be back in vying for the top 4. But if they lose, then that'll take them out of the running and make it just C-Tech, Carleton, and Georgetown. That being said, I do expect C-Tech to take this one. Group E, UCI, as I believe I mentioned above, UCI Gold forfeit this week. And I'm making a storyline that they're forfeiting this to prepare for their final battle against Kentucky in week 7. But what? Yes, right? I think I mixed something up. Sorry, let me open up. I apologize. I feel like I may have mistyped something.
While you're opening that, do you have any more predictions moving on forward?
Sorry, University of Central Florida.
Okay.
Not UCI Gold. Oh, I knew I should have written the full name out. University of Central Florida, UCI. They did forfeit this week. No, they have a forfeit win. That's what it is. They have a forfeit win as another team forfeit against them, and so they do have an extra week to prepare against Kentucky. However, if Georgia Tech A can beat Appalachian, which if their form that we saw on Sunday against Kentucky was not a fluke, I expect them to. If they do take Appalachian, they may actually supersede Kentucky in their fight for second place, all depending on if University of Central Florida can take Kentucky out as well. GMU, as I mentioned before, GMU and KSU finally meet this week to decide the top seeding. Both teams do look strong, and I unfortunately haven't done enough research in this group to have any extra insight on top of that. But this should be a good game to watch either way. For Group G, the top 3 teams here, which are UCI Gold, UBC Cat Bubbles, and UCSC, they're all expected to kind of clean up this week. Their matches this week all against teams that are lower ranked than them. No reason to think that they would. It's not until UBC and UCSC face off next week that we'll see the conclusion to this group. And then for Group H, UC San Diego face CSULB Senpai Squad this week. I definitely expect UC San Diego to take this one because they have looked a lot stronger. However, this would not be the first major upset the CSULB have pulled, and if they do actually take out UC San Diego, that'll make it a really tight finish between UC San Diego, CU Boulder, and CSULB.
Well, it sounds like we're going to have some pretty intense action this week. A lot of potential first seeds getting knocked out, or just a bunch of general standing shakeups. Now, Over in the Paladins realm, we already know who our top 2 seeds are. So Strixus, give us your LAN finals prediction.
I don't know. That's difficult to do, because we got a week. Why not just leave people in the dark? We got a full week,
Come on, you gotta have something for us.
I got so my personal thoughts are. Sorry about that. My personal thoughts are. No, it's so hard because both teams are looking really good. I think that Davenport has some slightly better names. They have slightly more notable names. Obviously, names aren't the only thing to go by. You obviously need to look at team synergy. And both Davenport and Rowan just I don't know. Rowan had 2 shutouts in their 2 complete kill shutouts in their division. One of them was to the 2nd seed in their division. Like that's insane. I don't believe that Davenport necessarily quite had that, but that's also like due to division seeding. I think that Davenport might be just have like a slight edge. Looking at the Masters LAN page, it is going to be a best of 5. I would not be surprised to see this be a 5-game set. Neither side having like completely clean 4-0 games. I've actually asked a couple people around the scene. A couple different people have some couple different ideas. Some people think that Davenport is slightly edged. Some people think that Rowan is a little bit more edged. It's gonna be a crazy set. I might, watch some of these players play a little bit more on stream. You can as well if you want. Just kind of see how they're feeling. Ask them how hyped they are. Maybe some good games on Saturday or Sunday. We'll hype some of these, especially like the professional players. We'll bring them up or take them down. So we'll have to see. I'll get back to you next week and give you like a slightly more concrete prediction though.
All right. Well, basically, just from what we're hearing, it sounded like it's possibly going to be a nail biter between the 2 of them.
Absolutely.
With a best of 5 set, going all 5 games with these 2 teams, with the names that I've heard on them, definitely seems like a very strong possibility to see all 5 games. So that's what we're always excited to see. Is that it's a best of 5? Well, we're going to get to game 5. So, Mr. Petey, what you got for us over in Dota predictions this week?
Well, like I was saying earlier, and we have 2 weeks left in Dota. There's a lot of teams that are still 6-0, 5-0 that I thought I'm going to say I knew for sure that they were going to end up staying up in the higher brackets. And a lot of them still we got in the first division, actually. We have Washington State University and OSU Indonesia, or Oregon State University. Both of these teams have a good set of 2-0s that they end up having behind or under their belts, or however you actually pronounce that term or whatever slang that is. So Midas Division's still looking really strong, and I'm really hoping that Washington does pull out pull out the big guns for the next couple weeks here and keep that no-loss streak, basically 6-0 no-loss streak. Whereas in the Demon Edge Division, it's the University of Waterloo that's 5-0, with Illinois following at 4-1, a lot of other 4-1s, but I did get to see a couple Waterloo games. I went over and checked out some with the not with the ticket because we don't got one, but I checked a lot of the stats for some of these games, and Waterloo looked to be really strong as well. Over in the Daedalus Division, it's the Cornell Big Red Bears that are 4-1 or 4-0. A lot of other teams in this league as well, though, 4-1. So Daedalus Division still looking strong as well. But I think overall, I'm really looking forward to the UC teams that are still up and running. But the Radiance Division, there's another 5-0 and a bunch of 4-1s. Stony Brook University managing to keep their 5-0 league. So, and I keep on saying so, but I'm going to keep on saying more stuff. Lincoln's Division, UMass Amherst going 5-0 as well. and then 5-0 and 5-1 for UC Davis versus UBC Dota in the Tarask division. But basically, there's a big chunk of 6-0 and 5-0s and maybe 5-1s that are still going to be really strong in this. But I feel that Washington State from Midas division is gonna probably take this puppy home. But we got 2 weeks left. I'm on the same boat. I can't really give you a concrete choice on who I think's gonna win. But as always, I'm gonna say I want every UC team that I know to win, and maybe the Oregon one as well. So that's what my predictions kind of are. A lot of the UC teams will get up there.
All right. Sounds like we're going to have some crazy upcoming weeks left, and then we still have the championships to go on. Over on the side of Smite, we're going to make this fairly quick here, as we already have our 16 teams who are going to be participating in the championships. This first day of championships, April 1st, is just going to be our round robin seed. We're going to take all 4 teams in the conference. We're going to put them against each other in a best of 1, see who's going to come out on top. Then we're going to take them and put them into our gauntlet stage, where the 3rd and 4th seed will face off, and then the winner of that will face our 2nd seed. As far as predictions go, really my first seed for each conference is kind of what I'm going to touch base on more than anything else. First seed out of Ragnarok Conference between Ohio, Southwestern, Stony Brook, and Bowling Green. I'm looking more towards Stony Brook just because of the experience that team has together in basically any tournament I've ever seen, whether it's AVGL, Smite Central, or whatever it may be, even in the Challenger circuit. These guys have been playing with each other for a long time. They're a really strong team, and I think Stony Brook is probably going to have the edge in the Ragnarok Conference. Over in the Gaelic Conference, this has Salisbury University, DePaul University, St. Joseph's, and UMass Dartmouth. Amongst these 4, I really think that Salisbury is probably the stronger team. It's 4 players who were with each other last season, plus a new jungler. All 5 very strong members, and because they've been with each other for so long and they have that team synergy, I think that Salisbury is really going to take the edge. It's going to be a close one between them and St. Joseph's to see who's going to get that first seed. Not to say that DePaul or UMass are completely out of it, but I think Salisbury's probably got the edge as far as that division goes. Over on the side of Yomi, I really have no questions thinking that Tarrant County College is going to be the number 1 seed going into the gauntlet stage. They are just they're animals. I mean, Dingodile, Osoth, Puckham, Data Remember, and Cardiac, all 4 out of the 5 players on that team have been in 1 or more AVGL championships. Data Remember and Osoth have been in 2. Dingodile and Cardiac have both been in 1 apiece as well, going for a potential 3rd and 2nd one for these guys. Puckham's the only one who wasn't, and that's because he kind of got he got one of the really difficult divisions last time around, wasn't quite able to make it up there. So Tarrant County is going to be my number 1 for that. And lastly, over in the Olympus Conference, University of Tennessee Orange, UC Riverside, California Santa Cruz, and Regis University. I'm looking at Tennessee Orange. UC Riverside no longer has Man Ray on their team, and Tennessee Orange was able to beat them without Man Ray to begin with. So because of that, I'm going to be giving Tennessee Orange the victory, just because, again, these guys have been playing with each other for a long time. They've really got that team synergy down, especially if they can get the picks that they want. I know for sure that Rama is probably one of the biggest sleeper carries in the entire league. Of you just kind of let him do his thing. He gets to the later stage on whatever god that he wants to have, and he's just going to farm the enemy teams. I mean, I'm going to give University of Tennessee Orange the lead over for Olympus. So we're looking at Stony Brook, Salisbury, Tarrant County, and Tennessee Orange looking to go into the gauntlet stage to be the number 1 seeds. All the other nitty gritty, there'll probably be a video from me later on this week. And if there's other content that you guys have and you do a video for it, let us know, and we will be able to tweet that out onto our Twitter page. We'll be sure to share that with all of you guys so you can see what's going on behind the scenes that you don't really get to see from us. But that's going to be it as far as predictions. We're going to really quickly do some final thoughts. Do you have any final thoughts for us, Cameron?
I do not. On the fact that, as you may have gathered that theme during my recap and predictions, if you're going to tune into any of AVGL's Counter-Strike broadcasts, this Sunday and next Sunday are definitely probably 2 of the better selections for that, just because we're going to have a good selection of games to broadcast to you guys that are going to be some really exciting ones. So definitely come out and do that.
All right. Strix, got any final thoughts for us?
I'm just gonna say keep your eyes peeled for some more Paladins content. Got some stuff in the works for you guys, and be ready for the Masters LAN and the AVGL finals next weekend. We'll talk a little bit more about it next week.
All right. Party Petey, what you got for us?
Just keep your eyes open for more Dota as well. We got 2 weeks left, so there's going to be a lot more action and probably a lot more Monkey King. So
Yeah.
I hope you guys like monkeys because you're going to get a lot of them. Because these college kids know how to use them.
Yeah. As far as final thoughts in the Smite division, we've got our championships you don't want to miss out on. It's going to be some of the best Smite that you will witness in the AVGL coming up this next week, so you don't want to miss out onto that one. But that's going to do it for our AVGL weekly Aftermath talk show this week. I want to thank my special guests on tonight, Cameron, Strixus, Party Pete. Thanks for coming on to the show. Thanks to AVGL for hosting this weekly event. Thank you all for coming out to watch it, and we will see you guys next week.